Ben, MetaMentors, episode number 26. We have arrived. You are in the States. It's official. You're an American citizen. Well, you never weren't an American citizen,
right?
But now you're back in America, a true living the life again. Dude, we are about to cover the Ethereum merge. We are a week out on it, and it was huge leading up to it and then very anticlimactic, which is actually what you want. But this song I'm about to play for you, you know me, music and Web3, Ethereum, anything going on. If we can combine the best of both worlds, I'm all about it. So I got a little treat for you.
All right, let's hear it. I do like your songs.
And we dished it in Taiwan. Too many mistakes. Slowly we moved on. And down by the lake with the beacons and chains in old Canada, where all of this was born, oh Canada. Rustic cottages were our home and all. We took up the chain and we turned it. We took all the fees and we burned it. Hey, Booterin, I think we earned it. To stand on, we did our very best, and for a down in Greece, buried under stress, out on the beach and debating the pieces, and oh, we carried on. Though the road was long, we carried on. You know, those voices never stopped, and oh, they said it would never be coming, but they didn't see the debugging, and pandas are not known for running.
I don't know what the reference is to pandas can't run fast, but obviously there's got to be a connection there with the merge. That this actually was on the live YouTube watch party they did on the 15th of September when the merge happened. So basically, like September 14th, Wednesday, clock ticks over midnight. I think around 12:03, the actual merge goes into play. And it goes down without a hitch. It reminded me a lot of the Y2K. Remember, like the whole world's going to end, freaking pull your money out, get your food reserves, the whole deal, and then nothing, which is exactly how you want something like this to happen.
Right. Then the clock ticked over and everybody looked around and nothing happened. And then they went on with their life because, the idea was for it to be seamless with no problems. The worst case scenario was something exciting happened. So I think we lucked out and none of that happened, which is awesome.
Even the financial side of it, the crypto side did nothing. Like it was as easy going as possible. But before we dive into that, and the difference between proof of work and proof of stake and all this stuff leading up to this, let's go ahead and get started, I guess, with the disclaimer, and then also what's been going on with the news, because it's been weeks since we've had an update, and there's way too much to cover like normal.
Yeah, there's way too much to cover, but remember, any of the advice or strategies that we talk about on this channel are not financial advice. They might be great advice for us, maybe not so for you. So make sure you check with your own financial teams before you make any decisions. Don't go off of what we say just because we said it. Maybe it's a good point to start your own research and education on the subject. So in the crypto world, here is what's happening. First things first, Coinbase is mobilizing it's 103 million users. I'm not sure how many of those are in America, but they've got a new feature up on their app that's already live. I think you'll have volume. I'm going to just go ahead and play this video because it describes it better than I can.
I'm here to give a quick demo of the Legislative Action Portal. The Legislative Action Portal allows any Coinbase user to learn more about where members of Congress in the U.S. stand on crypto. Members of Congress have a score ranging from positive to negative based on publicly available data, including legislative records, media statements, social media posts, and more. For members that don't have enough information, such as Hakeem Jeffries, their profile will display not enough data. This will be updated if their score changes. Let's tap into Representative Torres. You can immediately see that the sentiment is very positive. You can view his website or his Twitter to learn more, as well as see any notable statements that he has put out. You're also able to see what crypto bills, if any, that he has sponsored or co-sponsored. We've also added a very easy way for you to contact your member of Congress to urge them to support pro-crypto policies by tapping the big blue Get Involved button below. In the coming weeks, you'll receive a notification, such as the one shown here, that will allow you to access the portal. If you wish to revisit the portal, you simply need to go to your in-app notification center and tap on the crypto advocacy notification in order to access the portal once more.
And I think that is a great idea, because instead of just talking about, oh, these are some of the things we need to do, or we really need to hope that the people in power are crypto friendly, they're not just giving you, more incentive. They're giving you a very direct way to, one, look and see if who you're voting for is crypto friendly, and then immediately, whether they are or not, a button right there in the app that allows you to hit it and send a message to your representative. And I know there's a lot more that goes on in the world that you need to kind of be aware of, but it seems like not a lot of stuff gets done no matter which side you vote for. So there are a lot of people that are what we'd call, one issue voters. Like,
right.
There's people that will well, I like everything about this guy, but he's anti-Bitcoin, so he's off. I'm not voting for somebody that's afraid of, progress. But 103 million users, there's only 350 million people in America. So this has the power to sway an election, and not in a misinformation or a sneaky, not in an inappropriate or malicious way. This allows you to go in and see if the people that you're getting ready to vote for, if their views on crypto and Web3 align with yours. And if so, you can get a hold of them, tell them, keep going, we support you. And if not, you can vote for somebody else. Or if it's somebody that you agree with on all the other parts, if everything else they do is good, but maybe they're anti-crypto, maybe they just need to hear from a few 100,000 of their constituents and let them know that, hey, we are actually pro this, and we would like for you to take it into consideration, which is huge. And with the upcoming elections, there's no better time to do it. And to have everything right there in the app, there's so many places that are like, oh, if you want more information, you can click back, come to our website, download this, read it, print it off, blah, 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 blah. but this is right there in the app. So right while you're checking your crypto balances, right while you're buying, when you're checking your weekly purchases, it's right there. You can just click over, click your state, find your district, find your representative, and see, at least to give yourself an idea of who you're dealing with in your neighborhood. I know, being new here in Ohio, I have no idea about any of the current elected officials or who's running for office. So that's obviously one of the things that I will immediately look into, because I was more familiar back in Kansas, but then I've been in England and uninvolved for 3 years. So now being in Ohio, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And Coinbase has made it easy.
You were a small town politician at one point, Ben. So I don't know if you remember that, but you wielded the authority to make and break the lives of tens of chickens.
I was going to say, for 2.5 years, Douglas was pro crypto but anti chicken. I had no authority in there. That's why I don't do public office anymore. I just vote and do everything privately. So that's what we got going with Coinbase, which I think is pretty awesome. Do you concur?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And we'll move this along, but crypto to many is still just a novelty. It is not a novelty. There is a worldwide silent, if you can call it silent, war on currency right now. And crypto is smack dab in the middle of it. So politicians knowing their stances is incredibly vital with currency.
Yeah, that's a great point, because 5-10 years ago, it was almost a novelty subject to, if your representative was pro Bitcoin or thought, hey, yeah, we should look into this. It makes sense. It was less of a big deal back then, but it was kind of a novelty, something you might want to know about it. But you're exactly right. I think there's it's no longer a novelty. I mean, this is the inflation and the banks and the way everything's going and the way it's kind of put into the hands of a few small people that really don't represent the majority. And you're right. Crypto in general, there's all sorts of different projects, but cryptocurrencies, Web3 in general is the answer, as at least part of the fight against that. So
yes,
you're right. That's not as trivial of an issue as I made it sound when I said, if you're a one issue voter. But this is a huge issue. This is not just one small thing or being allowed to do a certain thing on the internet. This is the fight against the financial establishment. That's a good point.
Well, that's why you keep me around.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Next, FTX is raising another $1 billion to get a valuation. I think the way that this article lays it out is they're trying to raise $1 billion to keep their valuation at $32 billion, because everything's dropping. So where you would normally raise that money to try to raise your valuation, to try to look better, as everything's dropping, they're trying to raise some money from all of their fundraising supporters to just show that they're still worth what they were 11 months ago when the markets were really high. And as you know, as we've talked about on the channel, Sam Bankman-Fried is in the process of buying some projects that are either in financial trouble. He's actually propped a few up, not even bought them, just kind of sent them a low or no interest loan. He bought a whole bunch of Robinhood not too far back. So there's just a lot of projects. Yeah, there's a lot of projects that FTX has their hands in. And so when they're raising money, when the markets are down like this, and raising money successfully, I might add, you know what I mean? Everybody wants more money right now, but this is one of the shining points in the crypto industry is FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. So he's doing a great job. He's got a lot of projects with their.
He seems to be doing it for the right reasons. I mean, he's a Web3 crypto believer, and I was just reading an article about FTX and Binance are going after some of the same companies trying to help, salvage some of that stuff. And both of them, I mean, what do I know? I'm sitting in the middle of Kansas, watching this stuff from the internet, but it seems like Binance and FTX are doing things for the right reasons.
Yeah. And in fact, if it wasn't this article, it was another one. Binance was the top bidder to buy out one of these projects that FTX is trying to. They've got a bid in the auction ends, I think, September 29th. So next week, but Binance was leading that one. But yeah, in second place was FTX. And I feel like both of those are pretty solid firms that you would want acquiring some of these. And some of these projects, I don't want to say probably deserve to dissolve, but a lot of them kind of jumped in, and we're doing high risk loans and all the risky stuff that is cool when the markets are going up. And FTX and Binance have done the more solid, secure things. And so now that everything's collapsing, they're able to buy them. It's not all just charity. They're getting them for a really good deal. And then when the markets do turn around, they're going to have quite a bit. You know what I mean? They're going to have a good foothold in the market. And I saw FTX, I think they only said it was like 5% of their investors or, people who use their platform are Americans. So one of the things that they were really trying to do with stuff like potentially a Robinhood takeover or some of these other smaller platforms is get more North American, but especially the United States of America, get more investors from there. Because when I think about crypto, I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's mostly American. But as you and I both found out with a lot of projects, there's a lot of projects that America's not even allowed to participate in because of regulation and rules and stuff. So we are not leading the front on this charge, and it shows by number of users on some of these major platforms. America's an afterthought in comparison to some of these bigger countries. So
I've been using the internet for 15, 20 years, whatever it may be, since my involvement with Web3 and blockchain, all this stuff. It has made my world so much smaller. Like, I'm interacting with people all over the world, and with mostly a common cause, and it's so fascinating. Like, it's mind blowing.
That's true. When I'm talking to people on Twitter or on YouTube, and I find out that they're from the States, they're like, "Oh, I'm from Southern California," or "I'm from Oregon," and that's like 2,000 miles away. I'm like, "Oh, that's so close," because most of the people you're used to talking to are from Budapest or Australia or Asia or Korea. It's like the crypto world is so massive that when you find somebody that's on the same piece of land, even if it's 3,000 miles away, you're like, "Oh, hey, right down the street. That's cool." Very few contiguous Americans in the industry. And actually, we'll go over it here in a little bit about metaverse property owners, the number that they've got on the top 40 projects. And I heard the number and I was like, man, that's less than the population of a small city in America. You know what I mean? Like, worldwide. So I was like, not that we need more reason to be excited about being early, but I keep thinking, man, we are so early on this stuff that it's going to be great. So
it's crazy.
Anyways, so I'll have these articles listed below. FTX looking to raise another $1 billion. And then we go into two of my favorite things. One is Polygon, and two is, I don't know how you put it, customer loyalty cards. I don't really care about Starbucks, but I know that Abby does. And I'm excited that she's going to be getting in on this, whether she knows it or not. Let me give you the title of the article is Starbucks ties up with Polygon to take patrons on a Web 3.0 NFT Odyssey. Odyssey is their loyalty program. They said you're not even going to know that you're using Web 3, but that's how they're going to start storing all of their information. They're storing it. They're using Polygon. They're using the network. And for, when you buy your sodas, or I guess you're not buying sodas there, I would buy a soda. when you're buying your coffees, your $9 coffees and your $5 snacks, it'll be storing all that information using Polygon through their own personal cell phone app, which, like I said, if you're using it as a user, you'll never know that it's using Web3. You'll never know that you are one of, the Web3 pioneers, basically. It's all integrated and seamless, which is the beautiful part of projects like this. You don't have to connect your MetaMask wallet and do this and do that and have all this, stuff to go buy your coffee. This is just going to integrate seamless in, but behind the scenes, it's using a Web 3.0. And to me, I think that's how you really get mass adoption, because Abby could care less about crypto, but she does not leave the house without her, whichever store or restaurant she's going to. She's got her little loyalty cards. She racks up the points. She gets the free drinks. And now she'll be doing it through Polygon, which I think is awesome. I think they said they have, maybe it was, let me see, I got a different article up here. Yeah, here we go. They've got 27 million active members with a Starbucks in the loyalty program. That's more than McDonald's or Chipotle. And they said more than half of all the spending in the store comes from the rewards program. Because if you load your card up on there, more than half comes through the phone and the loyalty program. So that's a lot of money. If you got an idea how many Starbucks there are and how much money they make per year, it's crazy amounts of money running through there. And that's why you could only do it on something like a Polygon with absolute minimal fees, fast transaction, multiple transactions per second. And like I said, the best part is people like Abby will never know. They'll just keep on using their deal, keep on racking up their points, but using the network as a proof of concept and being able to go, well, if you're trying to get now Chipotle or McDonald's to do theirs on there, you could say, well, Starbucks did it and it has more than both of you. You know what I mean? So it's backdoor right into stuff. Abby's going to be using it, and then this one day it's like, oh, it says NFT. Where have I heard that before? Right.
And that talks about it 18 times a day.
Yeah, and that was another thing. So you're getting, you'll be able to do these journeys where you'll get, maybe try all the different pumpkin spice flavors or whatever of the month. And if you'll win these little badges and they'll be given to you as NFTs, and you can store, and so it's cool because you'll have them on your phone, but it's technically also an asset on the blockchain. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's really yours, and they're really going all in. And I'm sure once they dip their toes in and start to see everything that it's capable of, then I'm sure we're going to see more NFT projects and more special stuff and more, if you can get the NFT that's your half off or whatever, every time it's your birthday, you get your free drink. And it just really, it's a major company using the proof of ownership and the proof of you are who you say you are to make sure you're getting the deals that the company intends for you to get, and someone else isn't getting them instead of you. And it's great for the industry. And what's really great is this is the kind of stuff you see when the market is doing great, when it's going up, when it's just rocketing. Everybody wants, when every news article is about Ethereum or Polygon, then companies are like, ooh, what can we do to make sure we have Polygon and, or be mentioned in these news articles? And the fact that the whole crypto market is bottomed out right now, and these type of projects and programs are being implemented right now, that shows you the kind of work that's going on behind the scenes and the assurity that these major companies have that this is just temporary. It's going to ride right back up. They're well invested in this project. They would not just pull the trigger and put everything they have on the Polygon blockchain and then hope that it works out.
It's just a superior technology. We've said it from day one. We're not the only ones saying it. It's a superior technology. It's just a better way of doing business, and it's better for your consumers.
Agreed. And one of the things this article talks about is being able to buy the NFTs or the stamps is what they'll be called, for the average user with a credit card, which is one of the few ways it seems like right now to onboard your money into the blockchain. You know what I mean? There's only a few places where you can do that through a credit card, but it's that's a huge thing from Starbucks and Polygon, which is one that I think you and I are both big fans of and small time investors in. That's always good news when you hear something like because I think Polygon was the one that Disney picked up or teamed up with. So, I mean, Disney. If you're looking for a blue chip crypto project, Polygon's teamed up with Starbucks and Disney. So,
and there's been some other big ones too, not financial advice. Polygon has some massive changes coming next year also, like not financial advice, but Polygon.
But buy as much as you can afford right now.
Polygon has a lot of opportunity. We could.
Yeah.
I don't want to start going down that path. It's
and I think last time I checked.
Yeah, take a look at it if you're not.
Last time I checked, Polygon was about 75 cents, and it's been bouncing between 88 and low 70s for the last month or so. I know because that's how we have to onboard our money into Next Earth. So I've been trying to buy it when it is in the 60s and 70s, and then I'm trying to spend it when it's in the 80s. So
and it's not. I'm watching a lot of currencies for projects right now, and I notice with Matic, Polygon, it doesn't have near the fluctuations that these other currencies have. True. Like people are holding the value on Matic. It's a lot stronger. It's not fluctuate. It doesn't go very far either way. So to me, that substantiates some real value there that people are seeing.
Agreed. Let's see. That's the 3 articles that I have for the up-to-date news. So the fourth thing that I'm going to talk about for news kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about this week and next week. But I've got here a list. This came from Next Earth. They tweeted this out. This is a very, very up-to-date ranking of metaverse projects based on market cap. So you can see the ones you'll recognize a lot of names up here. You won't recognize a lot of names down here, but it's a pretty cool table because it shows you their market cap, their number of lands, and the average price that it costs to get those lands. And it shows you number of metaverse land owners in their projects. So far and away, and probably because it's the cheapest to get into, is Next Earth with 46,000. And to me, I was like, oh, that seems like a pretty good high number. But that's more than, the next. Let's see, that's more than 3 out of the top 4 or 4 out of the top 5 together. Here it shows on the top 40 projects of metaverse projects, there's 190,000 owners. And that's businesses, that's groups, that's everybody. That's everybody that they've got listed right now as owners of metaverse projects. That's 190,000. Wichita has 350,000 people in it?
Almost 400 or somewhere now.
So
but
less than half of Wichita, which is nowhere near one of the bigger cities in America. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so crazy when you start to think about it like that. It's like, dang, if you went into Somnium Space right now and bought one land parcel, you'd be one of less than 900 people that own land there. Think about moving into a fancy neighborhood or a big city or think about owning land in London. How many people own a small piece of London and what that kind of stuff is worth, and the more scarce it gets. And what's great is a lot of these, Next Earth has a lot of room to go, but some of these places are getting close to being out of land. They're going to have their land sold out, and then there's no more buying it from the company. You're buying it from other people. And so once these projects start to cap out with their land parcels, and then you have to buy them on the secondary market, then the price really starts to get crazy, either up or down, depending on the market. But it's very interesting when we start to run out of land because, say we come down here to one of these like Fluff World, which we've talked about before. if that one ends up shooting up and, you know, having a $2 or $3 billion market cap, and everybody's like, yo, this is the one we need to get into, all the land is sold out. Now you have to convince somebody who already has land to sell them to you, or to rent it, or to, you know, team up with them. And it's like, then it starts getting into the real wheeling and dealing, exciting part of metaverse ownership. So
yeah, it's happening.
Here, I've got these are the ones that we've gone over on the channel. We've gone over a few other ones that are more like NFT projects than metaverse projects. So that's why it doesn't seem like there's a lot here, but we've done the first 6, which is good. And then out of the next 6, we've done 3 other ones. We have not done Ember Sword. That's what we'll be doing next week. That's got 40,000 lands at an average price of $369 and just under a $15 million market cap. So as it stands right now, that's one of the higher ones. If you look up here, like at Other Side and Decentraland, I know Decentraland has been at $3.5 billion on a market cap. So we're like 6 or 7x below what we could have been. So if you think all these market caps, you know, if Ember Sword were to catch up with some of these other ones, and then the market goes up.
Yeah, and I mean, Ember Sword, you know, average price for land there, that's a very affordable buy-in right now, which all of this stuff is priced very well. You know, we don't know which ones are going to stay at the top or continue or lose ground or whatever, which is why you got to go in and do your own investigations and see what's interesting to you. But I'd like to pat ourselves on the back, being that we hit 9 of the top 12 without even having a list, just going off of research that we've done and what we're hearing about. So
and I would, you know, the plan is over the next couple months to hit some of these smaller ones, because these are awesome and those are great, but you're going to hear a lot of information about these kind of ones. I can't wait to go over here and to figure out where Gamium lands, Etherland, the Far Side, which I assume is a play off of the Other Side. I don't know. Maybe it's a Far Side like the Far Side comics, but it's very interesting, you know, because there's 10,000 lands and the average price is $1 each. So their market cap is 10,000. So a $10,000 market cap, I could cash out a couple of wallets and double their market cap. You know what I mean? Like, is that open to the public? It's very interesting. Some of these smaller projects, it might be real interesting just to kind of touch base on some of them, just so if D Nations goes from number 40 to number 8, we can watch the growth, you know, as an insider, not as somebody who goes, well, where the hell did that come from? So
so
I'm
it's
excited.
Exciting stuff for sure, which is why we're doing this channel. And covering this.
I'm looking at all this going, man, we're going to have to put out way more episodes fast, because I don't know when the market's going to turn, but I definitely want to have a good idea. If we get down somewhere like Ether or OVR land and it's like, yo, there's something here, there's something we need to be looking into. 1, this is really cheap, but 2, it's got a whole lot of upside. I want to get there before everybody else figures out that it's got a whole lot of upside. So
that is the name of the game, and that's where we're at in this market. And now that you're back in the States and setting up MetaMentors studios there in Ohio, we're going to be rocking and rolling through some of these. So
100%.
Well, so let's jump back into Ethereum and the Merge, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. But the claim to fame with Ethereum, the reason that it is what it is when it started in 2015, it was the first currency or blockchain that you could have smart contracts on. And that's what basically changed the game. Because of Ethereum and the ability to have these smart contracts, you had all these other applications that were born off of it. Applications, NFTs, all this ability came from smart contracts. So you have Bitcoin, the very first, that's roughly 12 years old, or 2009. revolutionary technology on the blockchain, it doesn't have the ability for smart contracts. Ethereum coming in 2015 was a game changer. And from the very beginning in 2015, according to Vitalik and these other guys and gals that helped build Ethereum, the goal was to get to a proof of stake. So as of a week ago, just over a week ago, it was what's called a POW, proof of work, which is where the miners come into play. Miners actually go in and decrypt these, these very complicated math problems in order to add blocks of information to the blockchain. So you have these miners all over the world. Majority of the miners, or majority of the hash rates that were going into Ethereum, so basically a hash rate is a fancy word for a transaction, most of those were coming from three main miner setups. And the way that, which is so hard to imagine, but imagine a massive ass hangar type style building, floor to ceiling computers just running at top temperature, top speed, mining these transactions, these mathematical transactions that are adding blocks of information, adding transactions, hash rates to the Ethereum blockchain. And this was sucking up a ton of energy. So the ERG, the environmental impact, has been on everybody's radar for some time. And that's basically kind of been the complaint. Now, there's some experts that break that down and essentially can show you that really that energy usage was nothing compared to, some of these other major industries that are using energy. All the same, it was a big bone with a lot of these companies, and a lot of people believe it was a massive hurdle. It was one of the massive hurdles to overcome in order to get major industry regulation money into cryptocurrency, into blockchain, into Ethereum. So from the very, very beginning, 2015, the Ethereum group, Vitalik, was saying, hey, we've got to get over to this proof of stake, which is what they did. They went from a POW, proof of work, now over to POS, proof of stake. And essentially, the proof of work, you created these blocks. Your miners were trusted because they were doing these calculations. They were doing the work, proof of work. Proof of stake, you actually have to deposit or stake a certain amount of Ethereum to able to qualify to run these hash rates, run these transactions now. So the start is, so for instance, if I wanted to make a setup and start making Ethereum as a, proof of stake miner, a staker, I have to deposit 32 ETH against Ethereum. That basically shows that I'm legitimate. And at that point, I kind of go into a raffle to every time there's a transaction that comes up, I'm kind of in this raffle to get drawn. Well, the more Ethereum you have staked above that initial 32, the more chances you're going to get drawn. So it's almost kind of like a raffle. If there's 1,000 tickets and you buy 100 of them, you have a lot more chance of getting drawn out of those 1,000 than if you only bought one, which, would be equivalent to like the 32 stake. So essentially, they're securing these transactions based on a minimum of 32 ETH that's staked against this Ethereum blockchain. And if you screw up or do something shady, they're taking your ETH, 32 or above or whatever, or a portion of it. Now, I'm sure there's probably a system to kind of evaluate all this and everything. But they've now gone from proof of work to proof of stake. It's been coming. They've been working on this since the beginning, but they've been talking about it for years, and it's had multiple delays. So there was a lot of hesitation on whether this was actually going to happen. And this technology, the ability to go from the proof of work to proof of stake, is way above my head. But essentially, the comparison that has been used is two vehicles running side by side on the same highway and switching out the engine. They created what's called a beacon chain like roughly 2 years ago. And that beacon chain's been running right along the normal proof of work Ethereum chain. And they've been basically staking, building things up on this beacon. And then on September 15th at 12:03 a.m., these two collide and there's no boom. There's nothing. There's no explosion. This isn't Hollywood. There isn't crap flying everywhere. Literally, nothing happens except what's supposed to happen. It becomes one system, one blockchain. Now proof of stake, full steam ahead. Didn't lose any speed. Like, it was flawless as planned, and now it's 99.9% energy efficient, which obviously, as far as it's not using that energy. So now all this beef with industry and investors and all that stuff, that's out of the way. Now it becomes about making the Ethereum transactions faster and cheaper. And there was a lot of confusion with that, and there's reasons for that, but essentially the goal here was to make it efficient, make it a proof of stake. Now, and you've got details on this, so I'm not going to go into it, but now it's about making it the transactions faster, making them cleaner. Like, it's going to upgrade from here. And Ethereum, and I've got a little clip here that I want to share that comes from one of the founders of Polygon. As a matter of fact, let me find it here. Let's just listen to it, because he does a really good job of describing this.
When we are speaking to these enterprises, all of them previously used to have big issues around ESG and environmental stuff. Now that is out of the way. So this is a huge step for the entire Ethereum and Web3 community to go mainstream. And that's the most exciting part for me, because, as we keep saying, that for Polygon, the mass adoption is the mission of life. So for us, that's the most important part about this merge. And also it opens up the way for future upgrades, which will further ensure that the layer 2 scalability takes off.
That way, huh? Yeah, earlier I mentioned the goal of the Ethereum blockchain, what he was saying was the goal of the Ethereum blockchain was basically to set the foundation. It's going to be the layer 2s like Polygon that actually make the scalability. Now they're going to scale. And per his words, they're looking to add hundreds of thousands of layer 2s to service more than 1 billion users on Ethereum. And we're at what is there, just over 100,000 or 150,000 crypto holders or wallet holders, period. Like, there's nobody. We're talking about, getting into the billions. So now Ethereum set that foundation. Now it's time to start looking forward to, like you're about to get into, the upgrades, the Surge, the Verge, and I'll be quiet and hand it over to you. But it's freaking exciting to watch this stuff happen and to see the affordability, the earliness that, again, we are at.
Yeah. I mean, we're early, but but projects like Ethereum are already so advanced. When you were talking about going, it's way more efficient now, 99 point whatever % better than it was. They said that's going to reduce the worldwide electricity use by 0.2%. I don't remember. So It's like 0.2 doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a lot. That's all, it's 1/5 of 1% of all the electricity being used in the entire world was using to power the Ethereum network. That's not the Bitcoin network. That's not everything else. That's not all the other cryptos. That was just the Ethereum network. And it's amazing that there's people just now starting to figure out what Ethereum is, or just now starting to hear it. And it's like they've been around long enough where they've already made one of their most massive transitions from proof of work to proof of stake. It's insane. But like this article shows that we're getting ready to look at, Vitalik Buterin says they're only 40% done. With moving it over and doing this massive thing, they're 40% of where they want Ethereum to be, which is even more insane when you think of how big that jump was from 30% to 40%. They've got 60% more to go, and if they get it to where they want it, they're talking 100,000 transactions per second. They're talking super safe, super secure, all the different bells and whistles that'll go into it. And Actually, if you want to switch the screen over to me now, I've got the article up that talks about, so that was the merge. The merge put us at 40%. It completed 40% of the project, of the Ethereum project as a whole. They've got the Surge coming up now after the merge, the Surge, the Verge, the Purge, and the Splurge. I don't know why they decided to go with the rhyming, maybe they were kicking around the office and then it ended up just sticking. But there's so much else that they have to get ready to do, because they really haven't, nothing has happened right now to the amount of transactions they can process at one time, or the speed at which the transactions get processed. All they've done is switch over the method by which the hash rate is from proof of work to proof of stake. So now, instead of all of the work being done, all of the computing power being done that stabilizes the network, now it's the amount of money that is locked up and staked up. That's what's stabilizing the whole network. But nothing actually changed. Nothing got cheaper. Nothing got faster. It might be faster because the transactions are down, but nothing got faster because of the merge. So there's a whole lot of more, Surge, Purge, Verge, all the rest of the stuff that's coming. All of that is going to do the job that the rest of it, that the rest of the big idea from Vitalik and his team have. So we did the merge. That's 40%. Surge, Verge, Purge, and Splurge in that order. I don't know how well you can see that, so I'll just read it to you. The merge is what just completed. That's 40%. The Surge is next, and that's massive scalability. That means they're getting ready for massive onboarding. Like what you said, you're talking billions of users, companies, places like Starbucks, anybody who's going to be doing something like that. And remember, layer twos like Polygon, those are all using Ethereum. Like, those networks are separate, but once it gets down to the Verge,
So basically, layer twos operate on top of the Ethereum, or at least the ones we're talking about. There's other layer twos that operate on other blockchains, but like Polygon, Matic operates on as a layer two on top. And my understanding of the layer twos essentially is they batch transactions. So instead of running each individual transaction, they batch them together and put them onto the chain at one time, which makes it way more affordable.
The third thing, which is the second from this point after the merge, is called the Verge. And that is expanding through vertical trees and related features. Now, I am not even going to pretend to understand what that means. Right here, this says statelessness through vertical trees and related features, client database updates. It's all way above my head. That's why I'm letting Vitalik Buterin work on it and not me, but it's very big. The Purge is a little more understandable. The Purge is eliminating historical data and technical debt. So they're going to be getting rid of everything that doesn't need to be there over their last however many years, with all their different test nets and all the stuff they've been trying and all the stuff that is just kind of like dead weight on the blockchain. They're going to be getting rid of that. It's like losing 50 pounds before you go run a marathon. It's the best idea because now you have nothing holding you down. They're not dragging along all this dead weight. And then when we get to the Splurge, which is the final thing, and they don't have a date for any of this. If you remember, I mean, like we just talked about how long it's taken to get to the merge, it's just very hard to plan stuff like this, especially with a team of perfectionists, because they will not move forward and then hope they catch up later. They don't move forward until they're 100% ready to go. So there's no date on this. We're hoping it comes quickly, but the Splurge is miscellaneous but important extras, and it talks about the EVM improvement, the account abstraction. Some of the stuff they're talking about is the short-term mitigation. Man, a lot of this stuff I don't understand. It all sounded good. The article I read broke it down for idiots, and this table is more for computer scientists. So it's very interesting, but basically, by the end of it, the point of this tweet that I read is that Ethereum will be able to process 100,000 transactions per second. And they've got 4 more key phrases to go through because the merge completed. So now Surge, Verge, Purge, and Splurge. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Is it safe to say that these additional steps are not as complicated as the merge that they just went through? Is that correct?
After trying to read that graph, I would not say that is a safe bet, but I would say I know that you explained it as 2 cars doing like a car swap.
Yeah.
Somebody from the Ethereum team said it was like trying to change a rocket engine mid-flight was the merge. So I can't imagine that there's much else. I mean, they were basically changing the whole network with the merge. The rest of this stuff, to me, as a layman, sounds like, okay, now we just got to clean this up. We got to do this. We got to, they're going to work on the sharding, which is using layer 2s, which is doing a lot of the minuscule transactions over here on the side, and then adding it to the main blockchain later. That's going to speed stuff up. It's going to make it cheaper. It's going to make everything go faster. So it feels like there's a lot now that can be built on this proof of stake network, this proof of stake blockchain. But now they can have people come in and do it. It's not the core of the system. It's not
right.
Now they're pulling it out. And it's like you can have somebody changing the tire. They're parked. You can have somebody changing the tire, changing the windshield, doing stuff like this. It's not changing the engine while you're driving. Now You're ready. You're good to go. So in my unprofessional opinion, I would think that it should be a little bit smoother sailing from this point forward, especially as smooth as that. If we had a lot of problems with that, I think they'd be, over their heads. But because this massive one that they weren't sure how well it was going to do went great, I imagine these next 4 steps are going to go a lot smoother.
Yeah, that's how I took it. I'm super interested in it. If I'm jumping the gun here, then don't let me, but I'm super interested in probably those watching. And if you don't know, you should be the most concerned with the deflationary aspect to it and what's going on with the SEC trying to think, putting out that they're gonna they get to claim
that they're in charge of
over Ethereum. Like
right.
That's that, and that all comes with the proof of stake. When you go from proof of work to proof of stake, now many people, some of the so-called experts say, hey, the minute you went to proof of stake, you're now you're a security.
Right.
You're not a commodity anymore. You are security, and therefore you fall under those laws.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes it kind of tricky right now is now it's just a matter of money. So, I mean, if the whole market cap is $1 billion, then right now, Elon Musk can come in and buy $3 billion worth of Ethereum or stake $2 billion. And then he has, they said if the fewer people that have skin in the game, the easier it is to get the 51% hack. You know what I mean? Like you want it to be decentralized in the ascent, that you want a lot of people to have a little bit in there. And that way everything's getting spread out. Once you start to have, a few people have all the money and are staking all the Ethereum, then it makes an attack or a fork more likely because a lot of it's tied up in not in the wrong hands, but just all at once. I mean, it's like storing your money in one big bucket near your front door as compared to hiding it all over your house. It makes it easier to get stolen. So that's the danger of proof of stake is, but that danger sort of existed with proof of work also because you could have a miner at your house, but you weren't in competition with people who have mining operations set up near power dams, or windmill farms that were able to really, do 100 times what you were doing in your mom's basement.
Yeah. Can you explain the deflationary aspect of it with how ETH is actually is now going to become deflationary? Is that a for sure deal, or is that's a for sure thing, right?
It's a for sure thing. The variance is, they're not sure exactly by how much, but because it uses less Ethereum to run, it's going to pay out fewer block rewards to stakers. So one, it's not making new Ethereum as fast and paying it out to the miners. That's one of the big things, is the staking rewards are much less than the mining rewards. So it's creating less Ethereum per day, and it'll actually be burning Ethereum. So I don't remember what the code number was for it, but it burns a portion of every transaction fee and just takes it out of the total supply. So like a lot of these smaller tokenomic projects that we've seen, where they're just burning just to burn it just for the purpose of being deflationary. So now they're, between all of the ways that it's burning and how much they're putting out a day, it's actually shrinking the supply every day. Now we're talking by hundreds of Ethereum, which isn't going to make a dent for a long time. But there's also the staked up ETH in the lockup periods. And so when it's locked up for 6 to 12 months, means it can't be withdrawn or sold, which means you can't be moving it around. So there'll be less of it actually liquid and moving around. You know what I mean? So when they do move it, it's going to, every transaction is going to get a piece of it taken out and burned out. You won't notice it as an Ethereum user because it's going to still be less than what they were paying to the miners, but they will take some out and just burn it. And then with what they're not spending on the miners, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say they put out 1,000 new Ethereum a day, but they're burning 1,100 or 1,200. So we're a long way from it being really noticeable, but for the first time in forever, Ethereum is actually deflationary, not based on the market, not based on how things are going. Like, it is set now to where there's more Ethereum getting burned every day than is getting created. So
and there's very few cryptocurrencies at all that are deflationary. Is that correct?
Yeah, that are truly deflationary. Some of them kind of advertise it as being deflationary, but there's some pretty advanced tokenomics where you can say it's deflationary, but technically, if you're burning anything, then it's deflationary, even if you're creating 1 million new coins a day. So, we're burning, every time we spend this much, we're burning 100 coins, but we are making 1 million new ones a day. So they can kind of say we have a deflationary aspect to our coin, but it's not truly deflationary, which is what Ethereum's does not sound as impressive. They're not burning a whole ton, but it is legitimately deflationary, which means, the longer you hold on to it, the more it'll be worth in the future, which is, as argued by some, one of the main problems with most currencies today, not cryptocurrencies, but currencies in general, is the longer you hold on to your money, the less it's worth.
Right.
But in a deflationary, but that's because, like the US dollar is inflationary. But stuff like Ethereum, even if it's slowly deflationary, it's yield bearing, it earns a yield, and your yield is worth more the longer you hold on to it, which fixes so many problems because it incentivizes not using it. It incentivizes staking it up. And the more money that's staked up, the more secure the network is. And if you stake it up for a set amount of time, then you don't have the issue like Luna, that when it collapsed, they're staked, but you can pull it out at any time you want. So once things started to go south, people pulled it out. Once people pulled it out, more people pulled it out. That won't happen with Ethereum because you're locking it up for a 12 or 24 month period. So it's in there no matter what. And that's been the case since they announced getting ready for the merge. I've had Ethereum 2.0 staked on Coinbase, and it's technically Coinbase staking it, but I've had my money in there. but they tell you when you put it in, they're like, up or down, you can't pull this out until we're at 2.0. And so it's pretty interesting, but it forces you to ride out the ups and downs, but it also stabilizes the whole market. And once we start to get real institutional money into Ethereum, they don't pick and choose. You know what I mean? They're not like, okay, we're going to put $1 billion and then tomorrow it drops or it goes up by 5%. They're like, pull it out, pull it out, pull it out.
Yeah.
Once that money's in there, that network is going to be super stable. And with all of it locked up and only little bits of it moving around, it's not going to take very much to burn to actually make up for the staking rewards.
Yeah.
So
which is what
and will be deflationary.
Yeah. When you're talking about institutional money, they're after the yield. That's what they're after, which is what starts making Ethereum massively attractive amongst.
Yeah, it's going to be like gold, except for with an interest rate. So they'll be holding value, but it'll also slowly be trickling in money. And the longer they hold it, the more stable the whole network is, which makes the whole thing more valuable, which makes more people want to build on it, which increases the value again. So,
yeah, it's super fascinating because, you know, we're still learning all this. So we've come a long way, but it's very easy to gloss over that we're kind of talking about two different things here. You have the Ethereum network, the blockchain that's just merged, went through this transition that's directly affecting its ability to build on with other applications and DeFi and all these great things. But you also have ETH, the actual currency that now is becoming deflationary, is yielding. So it's two separate things, but it's one and the same, because obviously it's on the same, but the impact that it's actually having, and it goes back into the smart contracts and all the things that go along with it. And then you throw at the layer, Polygon, all these other things that are going on. And now you're getting into the stuff that when you try to have a conversation with somebody that's not familiar with these things, and they think it's just crazy town that you're talking about virtual lands and you know, non-fungible tokens and stuff. And it's like, no, I get that, but I need you to see the actual technology, the mechanics of it, that these things are being born out of, because that's what is exciting. That's what makes you a believer. Like, it's fun emotionally to think about Ethereum going from 1,300 to 180,000 a coin, you know, which Kathy Woods has put out there, I think it was, or whatever, by 2030. You know, that's fun to talk about, but that, you know, that's speculation. We're talking about the actual underlying technology that's making all this possible, that makes companies like Starbucks, the largest gift card, or not gift card, but rewards card provider, jump on board with this stuff, because it's good for the consumer, but it just makes sense from a technology and business model for these regular companies that have nothing to do with Web3. I mean, Starbucks has nothing to do with virtual stuff, or like, they're coming on board because it makes the business stronger and better. And it just happens to be Web3 that is doing that.
Yep. And the way we always explain it, you know, there's projects that you can invest in the land, and you can invest in the tokens, and you can invest in the companies that are working with it. You know, one of the things we talk about on the channel is how can you benefit from this? And one of the ways you can benefit from the Ethereum merge and the growth of the Ethereum network is to either participate in Ethereum projects like the layer 2 protocols, like Polygon, Matic, stuff like that, or to just buy Ethereum. I've got, obviously not a lot. It's never going to be enough. I don't know how much I'd have to have before I say that's enough Ethereum, but I have some Ethereum, and now it's earning interest. It's just staked. It's on Coinbase, which means it's not earning as much interest as I'd like, but it's super easy to get into it. You can just throw it in there. It's in my Coinbase account, and you can earn, you know, money every day. And the rate is obviously astronomically high compared to a high interest savings or checking account, you know, in traditional banking. So it's awesome. And it's just so easy to get into that it's just one of those things that maybe allocating a small portion of your future investments into something like Ethereum, especially the new proof of stake Ethereum, because its yield, it doesn't, the asset isn't just getting bigger. I mean, obviously if it gets to 180,000 a coin, that would be amazing. But the fact that it also, that's like hoping that gold gets to $100,000 an ounce. That'd be great. But while it's getting there, if it's earning a yield, it's even better. And that's what Ethereum,
Absolutely.
the new Ethereum is doing. And that's why people like Kevin O'Leary are so pumped about Ethereum, because institutions need something with some sort of return, especially if it's a set return. You know, whatever Ethereum ends up giving back, you know, whether it's 4% or 5%, he said that's going to be like the industry standard. So if you're below that, people are going to wonder why you're not doing as good as Ethereum. And if you're above that, people are going to wonder what makes you so confident. What's your risk level that you're going above the industry? You know, that's, again, you get back to the stuff like Luna. They had great interest rates, but they paid the price, and so did everybody else. You know, you think you're going to earn 25% for forever, and then all of a sudden, you know, the bottom falls out and everybody's running for, you know, and they lose everything. So it's going to be awesome to have a real stable currency, you know, a stable asset in the crypto Web3 world to kind of base everything else off of. And so many of the projects are already built on there that it's the natural progression. And again, by the time most of the world finds out about this, by the time most of the world realizes about Ethereum, they're going to have to read about the Ethereum merge in, you know, history books and textbooks. Like, this is old news already.
Our
People
YouTube video.
Or a YouTube video, yeah. People won't care about it. They're going to start to realize that all of their apps on their phone are plugged in through Polygon and using the Ethereum network. And that's where all their loyalty programs and their online gaming and their sports gambling, and, you know, when they sign the contract on their house through their phone, like, they're never gonna, most people won't know or care what network it's through. Most people don't know about the Swift network or the networks that all the banking companies use. They don't care. They just, I need to put this money over here. They hit it on their phone and it goes. But when they start to notice that, hey man, it's more secure, it's more safe, it's going faster, and I can invest in it if I wanted to get in and buy Ethereum. It's just, I feel like I'm just a broken record. What a time to be aware of all of this stuff. What a time to know that this is what's happening. We talked about it yesterday on our pre-show. You know, it's like being one of the early guys while everybody was discovering oil in the ground. And it was like, you think it sounds good, and they're like, oh yeah, oil. But at the time they weren't using combustible engine cars. So, okay, oil. So we have something to light our lamps and we don't have to go kill whales to do it. That's pretty cool. But it's like, but if you were in the know, if you knew what was coming over the next 100 years with oil, with refining it, with all the jobs to find it, to pull it out of the ground, to ship it, to refine it, to turn it into plastics, to power automobiles, to power the entire world, you know, if that's
Whole
where we're
industry.
at right now with crypto. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not the crypto industry. It's like the blockchain is going to revolutionize all of the other industries, the way that oil revolutionized shipping, transportation, manufacturing, food, you know, agriculture. It's like, it's not, oh, hey, this is a cool industry to look into. It's like, no. This is going to change every industry that you're involved with right now. I mean, from Starbucks loyalty apps to buying new homes, to buying a car, to, you know,
Traveling,
making money, to retirement. Yeah. Finance, everything is coming through here. Entertainment, it's all being changed by blockchain. It's going to be cheaper, faster, better, with the ability for everybody to share in the profits. It's beautiful.
One of the biggest things that's being affected that is not on many people's radars unless they're paying attention is play to earn gaming, of which next week's episode is going to be about.
Apparently, number 7 on the metaverses by market cap is called Ember Sword. And I just saw while I was researching it this morning that Ember Sword has at least been around since 2018, or the production of it. They started, the first trailer that I found came out 3 years ago, and I was like, holy smokes. That's a long time, especially for a crypto game. So as I was looking into it, it's more of a game, more of a MMORPG, massive multiplayer online role-playing game. So it's a game that you would go in to play for enjoyment, that you have the opportunity to earn stuff like crypto and NFTs.
With like a storyline, right?
Yeah. It's not go find all the coins and then you have coins. It's a whole big game where you'll have the opportunity to earn and spend crypto. So I'm going to play the trailer here. It's called Ember Sword, and that's what we're going to be going over next week.
Do you look up at the stars? Are you afraid they might be looking back at you? Or does the sense of awe they instill overpower you? After a lifetime of being told, your path is the world. I once heard that in a foreign land. Assigned beliefs before I could pass syllables. It was only in these wondrous hills that I found providence. In these woods, you will discover your calling and raise your home. You will learn many truths, some that build your foundation and others that tear it down. You will find kindred spirits who you will take up arms with, conquer enemies alongside, and come to call family. I am Dalcor Kritana, Headmaster of Bulkhalter's Academy and Lord of Solarwood. Sons and daughters of Thaddeus, go forth and explore. Discover the secrets not only of this moon, but the universe, to reclaim humanity's former glory inch by inch. The world is not our path. It is only our beginning.